Hello everyone, it's VBrick here again, and today I have set 75391. Released in June of 2024 with 99 pieces and a retail price of $13, this set may just have been the most controversial one of the year, but I'll talk a little bit more about that later in the review. Flipping the box around here, we can see the Y-Wing land on what I assume is the moon from Season 7 of the Clone Wars where they crash, and normally I wouldn't really bother with the back of the box for a Microfighter, but in this case I really think LEGO missed an opportunity by not having these kind of spikes with the clone helmets on them in the background as we see in Clone Wars Season 7. It's just something small I think they could have done that would have really elevated the box art in my opinion, but at the end of the day, it is just a Microfighter, and there isn't really any expectation for something like this. Diving into our first and only figure for the set, being Captain Rex, and I definitely have a lot to say about him. Starting with the helmet here, which you can see has the newer kind of mold, and I personally don't mind this that much. However, you can see from the side angle here, it definitely does not look the greatest. And I think the old Rex helmet still reigns supreme in basically every way, but like I said, I don't hate the new helmet, I just think it could have been a bit better. The one advantage to this new one is that you can add a rangefinder or really any other accessory, which is definitely nice and probably the best thing about this new helmet. And then underneath here we have the face, which is surprisingly nice. You can see the bandage on his forehead there, meaning this is post removal of the inhibitor chip, and then the rest of the face is basically just the standard clone face. And if we take a look at the pauldron here, I mean, it is nice, however, very oversized, but to be fair, so was the old one on the 2013 Rex minifig. However, it isn't as big of an issue on the old one, as it doesn't end up covering what I think is the best part of the new Rex, being the arm printing, which is just amazing, but like I said, you can't even see half of it because it's covered up by the pauldron. However, LEGO had already created the solution to this problem back in 2012 with this much smaller ARC Trooper pauldron, and as you can see here, it wouldn't have covered up nearly as much of the arm printing as this new one does. And then the final thing I'll add about the torso is this ammo pouch, which is super oversized for no particular reason.
Please try not to cause problems where none yet exist.
Think of me as searching for solutions.
In my opinion, the biggest flaw with this figure is the lack of a physical waist cape, which the 2013 one did have, and as you can see here, the new one only represents a sliver of it with a print. I also forgot to mention he comes with two DC-17 blasters as his accessories. And then I also thought it'd be interesting to compare the new Fives minifigure, which is probably this one's closest cousin, and I think they look really good together as kind of like the modern 501st duo. Finally, I wanted to mention that this is the same Captain Rex that came in the UCS Venator, and this actually brings me to my next point, being this set's controversy. In the instructions for the UCS Venator in 2023, LEGO stated that the Captain Rex as well as the Admiral Yularen would be exclusive to this set, and then went ahead and released this Captain Rex's Microfighter for $13 a few months later. Now, my personal opinion on this is that people who bought a $650 Venator should get an exclusive figure. However, the people who also want a Captain Rex and maybe don't want to buy a $650 Venator should also be able to get one for an affordable price. And I think there's one very easy solution to this, namely just include a Captain Rex with arm printing in the UCS Venator and then remove that arm printing for the Microfighter or whatever cheaper set they're releasing it in. And this is actually what LEGO is doing for the Jango Fett Slave 1 in 2025, where they remove the arm printing for the Playscale one, and I hope this is what they do going forward. The other thing LEGO could have done to avoid all of this is release the Microfighter alongside the Venator. That way you know when buying the Venator that the Captain Rex figure will not be exclusive, and you can make your purchasing decision with all the facts. Okay, so moving on to the Microfighter, I mean, it's nice, I guess. It's a Microfighter, it's got a printed control panel at the front here with a windshield. There are two blasters at the front here, and then on either side you have these newer style stud shooters which can be fired off like this. I guess the one negative thing I have to say about this Microfighter, apart from the fact that it's a Microfighter, are the engines here, which come off super easily. Like, you'll just touch them and they'll just come off because there's no Technic rod through the whole engine piece because of the way it's connected to the main build. And it can be really annoying. Like, for example, here I was trying to shoot off the stud shooter here, and they just kind of came popping off, so it can be really annoying sometimes. And then finally here, you can put Captain Rex inside the Microfighter with his two blasters, and he looks nice in there. So overall, I mean, this is a pretty great set. I think it's great that people can get a Captain Rex for $13. I just think if they'd removed the arm printing, this could have been a lot less controversial of a set. But let me know what you think down in the comments below, and I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time.